With this workflow, you can create LinkedIn posts with an audio or text input into Slack that drafts your posts, gives you suggestions on how to make it more engaging, requests edits to the draft to ensure it matches your brand voice, and post it directly to LinkedIn while adding a first comment, all within a minute. Let's go ahead and make a LinkedIn post about how easy AI automation is and how you can use low code and no code automation tools like N8N in order to be able to build out really cool products that'll help your business. All right, so easy enough. All I do is make a voice message. I send it, and what the workflow does is it transcribes my message. It then will process it, create a draft of it, give me that draft. It also gives me some idea of whether it thinks it's a good draft or what I can improve in that draft, as well as a final recommendation of whether I should post it. So here we go. AI automation is no longer a luxury reserved for coders and tech giants. Tools like N8N, low code, no automation platforms have flipped the script. Right, okay. All right, it seems like a decent post, all right. The tone is approachable and encouraging, which is great for LinkedIn's areas for improvement. Consider adding a brief sentence or phrase highlighting a real world benefit or example of success. Okay, I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and just say, yeah, let's go ahead and add an example about how I have automated the ability to post on social medias automatically or on command using voice. All right, we'll just send that back in. It'll make my update for me using the same exact process in the workflow. So let's just go ahead and show you real quick here. And let's refresh the page. And so what it does is it processes our request, whether text or audio. It checks whether we're conversing in a Slack thread or not. So in order to have that memory, it then classifies whether it's drafting a post or sending the post. And then it drafts it and gives me my draft. And I'll go through all that in a second, but let's go ahead and see. It's not just for coders. Here's how it works. I speak a voice command, which gets transcribed and triggers a workflow in N8N. That workflow drafts that post, formats it, and then publishes it on all my channels automatically. No typing, no logging in, no waiting. Okay. It wants me to break it into longer paragraphs, but I'm going to say no. Let's just go ahead and post it to LinkedIn. All right, and so I'm going to ask it to send it. And this time, instead of going down the draft path, it's going to go down the send path. And it's even going to add a first comment, which will include my link to my free school community where people can download workflows such as this. So let's go ahead and see. Social media team has successfully executed my post. And we can go double check that. So let's go to my profile. All right, and we see AI automation is no longer a luxury reserved for coders and tech giants. It's exactly what we just posted. So let me just go ahead. Actually, no, and we'll see. It's got one comment. And this is the comment here. There's my school community. Did exactly what I wanted it to. Perfect. And I'll go ahead and delete this now since it's just a test. And as always, you can download this N8N workflow for free from my free school community, where we give away over 25 different business-focused workflows for free, with new free workflows coming out every week, along with tutorial videos, how-to setup guides, and a community of automation-focused business owners, all looking to collaborate and grow their businesses with AI-powered automations. You can also join our advanced community for tech support assistance, marketing and business growth discussions, as well as getting to pick my brain on N8N, AI automation, or businesses in general. Let's go ahead and dive into this workflow and show you how it works. So let's just zoom in. Got over here, we got our Slack input. If you don't know how to set up a Slack bot, I have a video on that. The link is in the description below, but you'll want to set up your Slack bot. I have mine set to Patty, which is this bot I have over here. It's one of many bots that I have, but this one's hooked up to Patty, and it's just listening from my Patty input channel. You can have whatever channel you want it to listen for. And what I do is I can send it a request. Now I've got this code node here. This code node just processes all the information coming from Slack, and it outputs a session ID number that either lets me know that it is a top level post, so at the top of a thread, or if it's within a thread. All right, and so that's largely what this code node over here does. And it also sets out the user ID, the text of what I'm asking, if it's a text message, sometimes it's not a text, it could be an audio. It doesn't really matter which it is because they get processed down the line. It sends me the timestamp of the message, as well as if it's a thread, it gives me the thread timestamp. Lets me know if there is a thread, as well as any file attachments. Although you don't necessarily need to worry about file attachments here. I have not set this up in order to accept pictures yet. I am working on that. I should be coming out with a new version of this LinkedIn posting bot that would have the ability to upload pictures as well, but this one just is for posts. What we do is we run that through. It checks if there is a file. If there's a file attached, it checks if it's an M4A, which would be the audio file. So if you send it an audio message, if I just come down here and click this right here, it creates an M4A file. And we'll just go ahead and close that. All right, and then if it checks is also if it's a text. And if it's a text, it'll come down here. It just sets some information. It sets the text as the text from my message. If it's an audio, it will download that file, the audio file, from Slack. And again, you have to set up your Slack credentials to do that. Downloads it as a binary file, which then gets uploaded into this OpenAI node using the Whisper service. So it's using the transcriber recording. This is Whisper. And it's just the input file is the binary file. We just downloaded it. It transcribes that file. And so long as it's under like 15 minutes, you shouldn't have any issues. If you give it a 15-minute message, that's a heck of a LinkedIn post though. So honestly, your message probably should be less than a minute. But either way, it takes both of these, or one of these inputs, because it's only going to take one of them. It's going to set the information. So we have our text, we get our user ID, our timestamp of when our message came in. If there's a thread timestamp, meaning we've replied to it, and I'll explain how it gets that in a second, it'll log that as well as a session ID, and that comes from the code node, which is pulling it from the original Slack trigger. All right, now, if this is a response, it'll come down this path, but I won't touch on that now. We're just gonna pretend as if this is our initial request to the bot. So if it's a response, it's going to come see the if. It's going to say that our session ID contains the word top. And it would contain the word top because we coded it in here. And if it's a top level thread, it's going to call it a top. All right. And then it's just going to bypass this Postgres node. If it finds that it's a thread ID, it'll come and pull the past conversation. But again, I'll explain why that's important in a second. All that information is passed over through the merge node here, which comes over to our text classifier. Our text classifier gets our request. It gets any past conversations we've had with the bot, if we've had any. So if we are working in a thread already. And in our previous conversation chain. And that's largely for kind of a more advanced build out that I'm currently working on. We have two categories of this text classifier. One is a send. And we've got our trigger conditions for a send. So we need to give it a clear and explicit instruction to post, publish, schedule, or send the post. And it needs to have a valid post draft in our previous conversations. If it can't find a previous conversations that we've had with it, and we haven't explicitly told it to send, it's not going to send it down the send path. All right, and so it's going to look for things like go ahead and post that, send this out now, post it, and it needs to have that contextual continuation. It has to have it. And so it's going to be looking for that previous conversation chain of LinkedIn, which I showed you up here. It's previous conversation chain, as well as it's going to be looking for a complete draft and explicit approval. If it does not have all of those things, it will not send it. So you don't have to worry about, oh, hey, LinkedIn, I'm thinking about sending something hey, bot, I'm thinking about sending something on LinkedIn. And then you push the button and it accidentally posts it without you getting to review it. You're going to get to review your post every single time. You're going to make sure it matches your brand voice. It matches your company. It's going to work great. All right. And so if there's no draft, it will not send it. Or it won't send it down the send path at the very least. And then we have a draft path. The draft path is for drafting content, not publishing it. And we need to explicitly reference LinkedIn. All right, so I built that just in case you have other bots that might be building other social media posting. So for this one, you have to explicitly list LinkedIn. So, hey, I want to make a LinkedIn post. So can you write a LinkedIn post about this? Can you draft a LinkedIn post? Make this a LinkedIn post. All right, if you don't say LinkedIn, the bot will not activate on this and you don't have to worry about drafting something for you. All right, and so if there is the previous conversation chain. It's set to LinkedIn, and there's a previous message in the path. It's going to read that as well, and it's going to look for language that indicates that you want to improve the draft. So can you make that last part sharper, change the tone to be more professional, include a stat, all right? Please do make this change. Go ahead and implement your suggestions. All right, because it offers us those recommendations, right? And so instead of having to be formulaic, go ahead and make the updates to the LinkedIn draft. You can just go say, okay, that sounds good. Make that improvement, please. All right. I wanted to make sure this was as natural as possible. And we say, don't trigger this if we're giving final approval to post. All right. We don't want it to come down here again if we are ready to post it. We don't want it to draft it one more time. All right. If we include general commentary that's not tied to the post at all, if we're just talking and it doesn't seem to be about a LinkedIn post, it's not going to try to send it down draft. It's not going to send it down send. It's just not going to do anything with it. And if there's no LinkedIn context anywhere in the message, it's just not going to deal with it. So you don't have to worry about it accidentally creating an extra draft. And our system prompt more or less just repeats that. It's going to get the previous conversations. It's going to get our input. And it's going to try to classify it into either a draft or a send. And so it needs, if we need a new LinkedIn post, then it's going to go to draft. If we explicitly tell it to post or publish, it's going to go to send. And then we tell it, don't send things down send unless we get that clear approval. Don't send things down draft if we're asking, do not classify message as draft unless the user is requesting it to be created, right? So we want a draft if we're looking for a draft. And so that's about it. And we have additional, if the last, I got Roger bot in there. This was a part of another bot that I'm building out that I'm giving away here. So if the last interaction was an hour ago, it's probably a different, if it was with an hour ago, then it is a new message to it, right? So if 2 hours later, I'm giving it another command, even if it's in the same thread, there's a good chance that I'm asking it to do something new. If it's within the past 30 minutes or somewhere in between 30 minutes, it really needs to check to see, does the context make sense of what the user is asking for? All right, and then, so it's going to output either draft or send. So if we go down the draft path, what we have is it will write my post for me. All right, and so I changed this. You are a LinkedIn ghostwriter. All right, and I'll make sure the system prompt is more generic for you all. It's going to get the current request, what we're asking it to do, as well as any past conversations we had with it, if we have any. And then we're just going to go ahead and draft a request, analyze the conversation, draft or revise the LinkedIn post, deliver immediate value, show off that, again, I'll make this more generic, integrate any edit instructions. It's not just a review, or you're not a reviewer. You are not explainer. You do not suggest. This one is only supposed to write the draft. All it does is draft a post. And we have a bunch of output rules. So hook fast, no sleepy intros, drop the value, ride the energy to keep them hooked. All right, no emojis. I found that it doesn't post emojis. So even if it makes the emoji code, it won't post them and it'll look like an emoji. So I just said no emojis. Finish strong, some sort of call to action. Write like a human, that's important. And it says Bradford here. Again, I'll make this generic when I give it out. Style checklist, it gives you the voice, the tone, the goal. This is all stuff you may want to change yourself. So even though I'll give you a generic version, you want it to match your brand voice. You want it to match how you come across and how you present yourself. I try to be like high energy. You may be more reserved or more authoritative. So come in here, definitely try to update these prompts for yourself. Don't drop links in the post. That kills the engagement on the post. Don't sound corporate or safe. If you need to sound corporate and safe, change that, all right? Don't parrot the user message. That one's important. We don't want it to just rewrite what we wrote unless you tell it to, all right? No meta explanations or editorials. No, don't ignore feedback. So again, this is one that's just drafting the post. This one's not conversing with us. No swear words or other language. That's important. I found when I didn't have that in there, it really did include a bunch of bad words. I'm like, yo, who do you think I am? All right, no unexplained tech jargon or buzzwords. Then here's a bunch of examples that we're going to have it give to it. So that'll output a post. And then we come over here, and this note here, send LinkedIn draft to the user. This one, all it does is take the post and then it thinks about it to come up with some additional thoughts on, could it be improved? Could it be stronger? So it takes our output from our last one, which is our post. It will run it through here. It's going to deliver the raw draft. It's going to frame it so that it's clearly, hey, here is your draft. Rather than just being there, it's going to here is your draft. It's going to review the draft and offer a clear professional feedback on its quality, tone, and readiness, and provide next steps. Is this ready to post? Could this be tightened up a little bit? Does it need some minor polish? If it needs a minor polish, you can just post it anyway. If it seems like there needs significant revision, it's going to tell you that. All right, so it just opens up with a clear note that, hey, we got this from the writing team, just to make it seem like it's a little more human. Like, I don't like my bots seeming like, here's your draft. Like, hey, the writing team sent this over. I like, it seemed like I have an executive assistant who's talking to me. It displays the draft clearly using set aside. It's going to follow with the review to provide that honest, constructive feedback and give a recommendation of whether this is ready to post or not. So here's the style rules for the bots. This isn't about the post. Speak directly to the user in a friendly advisory tone. Be clear, specific, actionable in your feedback. Praise the strengths where appropriate and identify the weaknesses professionally. All right, so this bot does not edit the draft. It does not respond as an AI or a neutral assistant. It needs to act like a human. I want this to seem like it's a person because I don't like my bots just, here's your draft. You can always change that if you want. And don't provide generic or vague feedback. So what it does is it drafts all that up. I'll come over to Patty here. And I'll come just here. So here we'll see, here's my framing. Here is my LinkedIn post. Here's the review that it conducted right there. And then the recommendation is it's ready to post with optional minor polish. So that's exactly how it would post it over to me. And we have that here with the Slack node. Slack node, we just hook up our credentials before, pick what channel you want it posted into. You set the output from the previous node, which was the one that drafted that response we just looked at. We are replying to a message. And so in order to have this appear in our Slack thread, rather than over here just in the channel, we set that to reply to the timestamp of the original message. All right, and this actually comes from, should come from the code node, but I think that's totally fine to have it there. So way back here, the timestamp, we got our timestamp right down here, timestamp. So this is what it's going to be replying to. The timestamp will always make sure that it comes into the thread. And there you go. It just puts it right into the thread for us. Come back over here. Once it has given us our message, I then want to make sure that everything that we just did is captured in memory. And it needs to be in the memory so that if I need to update the draft, or if I want to have the bot post the draft for me, it actually knows what draft I'm talking about. So what we do is we have a set node here. The set node captures all of our information. We set the session ID to be the user with the timestamp. All right, and it should be the thread timestamp, but the regular timestamp works just as well. And that makes sure that when it comes back through, the code node is able to pick up the timestamp and see that it matches with what it's going to be pulling from memory in order to, so what we put in needs to match what we're pulling back out later when we're asking it to update it or post it. And so we have to set that here as the session ID. And we need that session ID for the Postgres node. So we set the text as our text, the message. We set our user as our user ID from Slack. We set a previous conversation chain, because if you remember that text classifier is looking for the previous conversation chain to know that we're still talking about LinkedIn. And then the time added so that we can classify everything based on the time that it came in. So the user message will get put in first here. And then the bot message gets put in so that when we come back over here and it pulls that information, it sees it all in time order. It gets ranked by time so that the bot knows, oh, this message is first, third, or second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And that way it knows the whole conversation chain in its proper order. All right, we upload we do an update Postgres node here, and I have lots and lots of Postgres nodes, and I just never change the numbers. Don't worry about that. Set up your Postgres account. If you don't have one of those yet, I've got a video in the description below on how to set up Postgres to be able to have memory for your bots. All right, we're going to use an operation of insert. The schema is public. You're going to pick your table. I'm just using one of my bot chat memories here. So mine's just this one. You pick whatever table that you've set up. The values are going to be mapped manually. First one is going to be an ID. So when you set it up, the three columns that you're going to have are ID, session ID, and message. The ID you don't want to mess with. You want that to just increment one by one every single time a message comes in. So I set this to manual in order to delete the original ID line here. So, okay, so just go ahead and delete it. It's going to be ID in there. Just delete it, and then start with session ID. Our session ID is just the session ID we got from our previous nodes, and then our message is going to be type human, so that the bot knows who sent it, and the message is going to be just the text that we sent into the text classifier. And I grabbed from the text classifier just because I have so many different code nodes going on that I just like one place that like clearly there was nothing that broke in between here and there. And it'd be the text classifier. And so, and then we add our time added, so that's aware of that as well. And then we also add the information to that the bot sent, same deal. So insert operation public in the same table. You do the same manual mapping, delete out the ID. Session ID is going to be the same. So this is going to come from the update Postgres with new message. That's our set node. And then we're going to have a message here that's going to be type. I have AI agent, so it knows it's the bot. Our data is going to be the Slack message that it sent us. So come over here, I'll show you. So you got message user 1, all right? Down here, it's message user 1.item.json.message.text. So that would be our actual message that got sent to us by the bot into Slack. And then I also have this dot replace here, and it's a whole bunch of dot replaces. The reason that's there is because sometimes when the bot responds to you, it might include quotation marks. And I've tried to, any system prompt that I make, I try to always tell it not to use quotation marks. And the reason for that is because if you include a quotation mark in your, if the bot includes the quotation mark, and in fact, if you do as well in your Postgres node, it breaks the Postgres node because it'll have two quotation marks, say it's like right there. The rest of this text over here is just not housed by anything, and it breaks the message that we're sending to Postgres, and you're going to get an error. So I have all these dot replaces in order to strip out any extra marks that might cause Postgres to break. All right, so just understand that's why that's all there. Feel free to copy this if you want to build this, from YouTube. This is all available for free in my Slack community. You can download it, no problem. I have the responding to, who was the bot responding to? And you might think, well, why do I need that if I'm on my own? This is for organizations that might have multiple people in this channel with the bot. You can have different people asking the bot to create different LinkedIn posts for them, and it'll create different threads for them. And each one needs to be able to be identified later when you're responding to the bot, asking for the updates to the draft or post that draft. You want to make sure everybody stays in their lane. All right, we have a time added, so that way it keeps track of it, and as well as our previous conversation chain, so that when we go back to that text classifier, it knows that we're still in LinkedIn. All right, so that's what happens when you send a draft, or ask for a draft. Now, if you ask for an update for the draft, it goes through the same exact process, except the second time through, instead of skipping over this Postgres node here, what's going to happen is this if node, come back in here, is not going to see that our session ID contains top. Instead, the session ID back here in our code node is going to be our user ID with our thread timestamp. And our thread timestamp will give us access to our Postgres data. All right, so again, our if node is looking for that top. If it does not find it, it's going to come down here to this Postgres node, which is going to do a select operation from our table, looking for our session ID. That session ID is then going to pull all of the information out of Postgres and give it to the bot. And we run it through this code node here in order to rank everything based on the timestamp. It's going to make sure that the output comes out properly. So it's going to come out with a session ID, the message, the content of the memory. All right. So all of our prior conversations with the bot, as well as our previous conversation chain, which should be linked in, as well as the last time this got updated. All right, and then that comes all back through the text classifier. All that information is given back to the bot that needs to draft it if it needs to draft it. Otherwise, if it's ready to send, so we say, okay, let's go ahead and send it, it'll come up this path here. So what we do with this one is this bot will take our request as well as our prior conversations, and it will redraft the post one last time. So it's going to scan the conversation history for the most recent fully written LinkedIn post. It's going to return that post text only with no commentary, no analysis. Just grab the post draft that we approved. All right, it's going to preserve any formatting and line breaks as well. And then it's going to output a direct copy of that post. No system notes, no explanations, no text. It needs to be immediately ready to post with no emojis. All right, and that's pretty much all it does. So it finds it again, it copies it exactly it is. Copy it exactly. Do not rewrite it. Do not shorten it or fix it. Do not modify it. Just exactly the way it was, because that's the one we approved, right? All right, and that's all that does. It then, I have this Google Sheet here. You don't have to. I'll include the Google Sheet with the workflow. You can get rid of this if you want. I have it just to be able to keep a copy of all of the posts that I make. So I've got a spreadsheet that's just, I call it my LinkedIn post database, just sheet one. I barely made it at all. I've got a column for the date that it was posted and the post copy. And that way, and let me see here. Let's see if I can't find it just to show you really quick what it looks like. Down here, LinkedIn post database. And so here's just all my posts, and we should see a whole bunch from like the past couple of days because I've been testing it. May 2nd, May 3rd, May 3rd, May 3rd. Yeah, today's the May 3rd. So I tested a bunch before I started recording. And so I have a bunch of these copies here. And that's just so that I have that for my reference. I don't like just posting stuff into the wild and then not having had it somewhere. I always want to make sure that I have it in order to be able to go back later to be able to process. So maybe I'll run this all through another day, another bot to just rewrite these things instead of like having to think, oh man, what else should I talk about? I can just run this through all the posts that I've made in the past through another bot, rewrite these things, and now I've got fresh content again, even though it's the same thing I've posted before. All right, so that's why I have that. You can always get rid of it if you want. It doesn't need to be there. So next, we then post to LinkedIn. If you don't have LinkedIn hooked up to N8N yet, I have another video in the description below about how to hook up LinkedIn. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but just so you know, the resource we're doing is post, operation is create. We're posting as a person to your account, to my account. We're going to be sending the text of the body of the post that we just rewrote, and no media. And the media options are article and image. I don't have it set up to do image. I'm still figuring out how to do that part. I'll update. I'll come out with another version of this once I figured out how to do the image part. But just so you're aware, you can send images, and I am working on figuring out how to do that. Again, I also showed you how to do that this will do the first comment on my post. So that's this node here. There's no native LinkedIn node to do it. So you have to use an HTTP request node. We just use this here. Again, this is all explained in that LinkedIn setup video that's in the description. So that's it. We just have, make sure you include your URN number. And I will show you really quick how to do that. I've got this extra node here to help you get your URN. I will include this, but it's just this endpoint here. You have to make sure your credentials are set up and attached to it. And then you just run it, and it will get you your information about your LinkedIn profile. Come down here to ID, and this one right here is your URN. All right, so just copy, paste that over into your commenting node here. Just paste that right there. And then it will post whatever you want. So here you'll see I've got, you can find over 25 plus AI automation workflows for free in my school community, and that's my school community. All right, so unless you want to be promoting my school community, I'd suggest changing this node or even eliminating it altogether. Whether or not you have a first comment is up to you. Maybe you don't want to post a link. I find that my reach does go down if I post that first comment with a link. But I also want to make sure that I'm promoting myself all the time. So it's really a balancing act between whether you're going to include it or not. Maybe in another version, I'll have some sort of like split here where it determines based on the post copy whether to go and post a comment, whether to post about my school community. Just thoughts for a future improvement on this thing. But again, we come here after it's posted it to LinkedIn with my comment. It then drafts a response to the user, to me, to let me know that it has posted this. And so it just takes a report. It's just going to draft with, hey, the social media team has successfully executed the post. It lets me know that it posted to LinkedIn and everything's good. And if it's gotten to this point, it has. All right. So you don't have to, like, if you get a message saying it has posted to LinkedIn, it means the bot has not broken up to this point, and it definitely has sent that post to LinkedIn for you. And then again, we add all that information back to Postgres. It's exact same as down here. We set the same information. So we got our session ID, our text, our user, previous conversation time, our chain, and time added. And then it uploads my user message, most likely something like post it, or go ahead and schedule that, or go ahead and post that. And then it adds the actual post itself, letting the message to the user that it has posted into the database as well. So as you can see, this on-the-go LinkedIn posting bot allows you to quickly create LinkedIn posts that you actually approve of rather than just automating it, that match your brand voice and allow you to post them, edit them, whatever you want, all within your Slack account. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please like and share the video because it really does help get this content out there to people who need this and would like to be able to use these bots themselves. Also, make sure to click the link in the description below to download today's workflow for free from my free school community, as well as a whole host of other helpful tutorials and links and workflows, all within the community for free. And as always, I'm Bradford Carlton. Let's automate your success together. I'll see you inside.